that attract more and more individuals. While compared to the U.S. mainland, we are doing extremely well. The old saying that if the mainland sneezes, the Virgin Islands catch a cold has never been more relevant. We have to keep up our guard in order to survive this holiday seasons with no lockdowns. And as such, we are implementing 3 main things to make sure that we keep you and your entire family safe this holiday season. Firstly, Lieutenant Governor Roach and I sat together and really thought about this year and the tremendous impact that the tragedy of the pandemic, loss of lives, sometimes more than one individual in the same family to coronavirus, whether they were lost locally or in the States or somewhere around the globe. The violence that we see in our communities, so blatant in our streets at times, and the loss of so many important Virgin Islanders, including Ruth Thomas, who passed away just this week, where our condolences go out. And in light of this, we're proclaiming Friday, November 27th to be a day of reflection and prayer for the family. Administrative leave will be granted to non-essential employees of the government and all the agencies. We have had a particularly challenging year in the territory for a multitude of reasons. And like I said, we've lost so many people in our community, people who we admire and some who we know personally. We give thanks to the Almighty Creator for sparing us through another hurricane season and extend our prayers to those who were not as fortunate for being hit by them in a year when we have seen record numbers of hurricanes. In my lifetime, I have never seen it go to the Greek alphabet. Please utilize this time off to spend at home with your family, reflecting on the many blessings that we have received this year. And because this has been a year that is certainly filled with trials and many triumphs. We remain thankful for all that we have had during the year to sustain us, but recognize that we are so looking forward to 2021. Secondly, there is another compelling reason why we have deemed it necessary to declare Friday an administrative leave day. Like most governors and public health officials across the country, I am nervous about the spread of the virus this Thanksgiving holiday. Very nervous. I'm looking on Facebook and I'm seeing you receiving your family members, your loved ones, people home from college. That is why I've asked all the agency heads within the executive branch to reduce the presence of employees coming to the office as much as possible for the next 2 weeks immediately following Thanksgiving Day. So we've seen this pattern before, and as we look at our numbers slowly creeping up, the same thing is happening again. First, we see the numbers move from 3 to 5 to 10 a day. Then we see the proliferation of the virus in our restaurants and places where people occasion a lot. The next step is that we see it in our government offices and in our private offices. So I'm urging the public that please use this day as a day of reflection. And to the private sector employees, you can follow suit too. If you don't need your employees to come in the day after Thanksgiving, please encourage them to work from home, or give them the day off where they can work remotely. And for the next 2 weeks, remember, because after Thanksgiving, you're going to have a period where those infections are going to increase. So we have the testing capacity to get you tested up and quarantined if you do so happen to contract the virus. But what we don't want people immediately returning to work. So if you're in the States watching this now, when you come back, don't come into work for a couple of days. Make sure that you quarantine, get another test if possible. If not, make sure you're not having any symptoms so we don't have a proliferation of coronavirus for our holidays. The third announcement I wish to make is a moratorium on all permits that are issued for large events to the public. You know, we have made some exceptions for some sporting events that we wanted to see go on, be it flag football or what. But from here forward, we're not making any special arrangements for anybody throughout the holiday season because we have to control the virus as much as possible. So if you want to do something, you do it online. People can attend virtually, but anything that attracts any large amount of people in our public spaces, whether sports tournament, food sales, or whatever, those are discontinued until further notice, until we see those numbers start to go down in the States and we ensure that we are controlled here. So if you have it planned for the holiday season or you're planning, cancel them now. There'll be no exceptions to this because this is not a time to be out, but to recognize that the way that the U.S. mainland is trending, if we are not diligent, another shutdown is imminent in the territory. I know we all are growing tired of the virus, but we can't let our guard down now. I promise you that if we can get to the other side of this, we can get to it, but we can't do it without protecting one another and ourselves. I want to wish everyone a very happy, healthy, and joyous Thanksgiving Day. This year's holiday will prove increasingly difficult for people globally as well as those in the Virgin Islands to keep their families safe. Because we are accustomed together, me, myself, and the family are used to having 20 people over for Thanksgiving and celebrating all the things that make us Virgin Islanders and what we are thankful for. The reality is that the COVID-19 virus is spreading at record levels all throughout the United States. Americans today have a greater risk of contracting the virus now, more so than at any other time this year. Here at home, we are swimming against the current, trying to follow that negative trend. But the number of our active cases for the last 2 weeks have been slowly trending upwards. We're doing all we can, and I was looking at the report this morning. We have over 1,400 tests conducted at our local airports trying to keep people safe. But Thanksgiving Day, you may want to celebrate virtually with some of that family that you know, or exclusively with the people that live in your immediate household, because that's the safest choice for Thanksgiving. The CDC, the Center for Disease Control, estimates that more than 50% of all cases of COVID are transmitted by people who are not exhibiting symptoms. This means that there's a 50-50 chance that if you contract the virus, the person who gave it to you appeared perfectly healthy and likely had no signs of sickness. While we know what precautions we take to keep ourselves safe from the virus, we cannot vouch for the individuals that do not live within our homes. We do not know if they may have been exposed or how. So if you plan to host a gathering this holiday season, be very mindful of who you are letting into your home. You should also follow some of these quick things just to be very, very safe. And these are all things that the CDC is suggesting to keep your family safe. Move your meals outdoors. I know you're accustomed to being inside. Being outdoors helps the virus be less likely to spread. If you are celebrating indoors, open up all the windows and the doors to make sure that fresh air is moving through your house all the time. Limit the number of people you invite to 10 or less. Now, try not to get too many people in your house, and do not attempt to have a mass turkey gathering. Limit the number of people going in and out of the kitchen. That helps as well too, because people come in close contact in those spaces. And don't be embarrassed to ask people dropping by to wear their masks, and wear your mask if you're just dropping by someone's home to pick up food or to greet them. You know, some of us like on Thanksgiving Day to go from house to house to house. Please don't start a COVID caravan. Pick up your food, wear your mask, go home. Keep 6 feet away from people who you don't live with, and you don't know where they may be getting it. Encourage your guests to wash their hands. Keep out your hand sanitizers and everything else so they can have availability of that. And then let your guests know ahead of time that you will be taking some of these safety precautions for your guests. Make sure that if you have people visiting for the holidays too, that you kind of stay away. They're living in your house, you stay away until you know they're safe. As of this morning, we have 57 cases, active cases of COVID in the territory. That's good. We're down from about our high, since we opened up at about 68. There are 27,823 individuals who have been tested. And I want to talk a little bit about that. That's 27.8% of our total population, which is really good. 26,000 of those tests came back negative, and 1,507 of those came back positive. 1,427 of those individuals have successfully recovered. The number that you see every day of testing isn't the total number of tests. I have to say that over and over again, because people are, oh, you guys are not testing anybody, that's why you're not finding anybody. We've been testing people, but the count for the tests only counts once. So usually we do over 300 tests, 275 to 300 a day, but of those, at least 100 or so are people who have already tested, so they don't show in the count that we send out to you. But so far the trending is going pretty good. We had a couple of incidents with vessels coming into the islands. The last thing I want to talk about today is securitization. As we address this crisis about the COVID-19 pandemic, we do not have the luxury of ignoring all the other pressing issues that are looming in the Virgin Islands, whether it's energy, solid waste, roads, schools, or the looming crisis that confronts the U.S. on the economy. The insolvency of the government employees' retirement system draws closer with every single month that passes. The Board of Trustees has gone on record recommending implementing a 42% cut to the pension of the current retirees starting January. As we all know, this would be totally devastating to the retirees, our current members, the small businesses they patronize, and the overall economy of the Virgin Islands. But we can't just stand by, and we will not stand by and do nothing to avert this disaster. When we introduced the concept of refunding the Internal Revenue Matching Fund bonds several months ago, we had no way of knowing how long this unprecedented low interest rate environment would last. We worried that if the Trump administration, which has been heavily favored by Wall Street, would lose its re-election, that we would see the investment market changing dramatically. As it turns out, that scenario has not materialized, thank God. And the market continues to offer extremely attractive interest rates. And after careful research, we are convinced that we have a great opportunity now to refund our bonds and generate savings that could go to rescuing the pension system and completing a lot of other problems that we have here in the Virgin Islands that have been plaguing us for years. We currently pay debt service on the Internal Revenue Matching Fund bonds based on the interest rates of those bonds. So we got them a long time ago, and the interest rates is right about 6%. The debt service is the amount of principal and interest the government of the Virgin Islands agreed to pay the bondholders. We made our most recent debt service payment this past October 1st. We were trying to avoid having to do that and saving that money. And we will continue to pay the bonds until they are retired. However, we do have an opportunity right now to refund those bonds and get them back at a lower interest rate. And so we could reduce the amount that we're paying on our debt service. Not only that, but we have a final chance now to pay less because we have a lower interest rate. And the caveat is we are borrowing no extra money. The Virgin Islands will be in debt for the same amount of money it was before or after, except that we will have working capital to do the things that we need to do, and we will be able to contribute towards our failing retirement system. The legislature, the GRS, our team, and other professionals have been working on this for quite some time. We've had several meetings over the last couple of weeks, and more meetings over the last couple of years, trying to figure out solutions that will help us put some money into a system that grows ever more precarious every single day. We will continue to work on these things and all of these mechanisms to get that money where it needs to be. Our financial advisors recommend that we seize this opportunity of this. So we have done a lot of things to get this done, and thanks to the members of the 33rd legislature, we were able to get it issued, but the time constraints that were there severely limited us from making the offering when we needed to. So we got the approval from Treasury. We successfully negotiated the participation of the rum distillers. And yes, we even got the special purpose vehicle up and running in the Virgin Islands. And through all of that, just like we said it would, we were allowed to get a good bond rating on the market for this offering. Favorable rates for the first time in many years. And our bond buyers were excited about the transaction and still remain ready to purchase Virgin Islands bonds to this. Ultimately, we simply ran out of time. The legislation was tied to time, we ran out of time. So we're going back now to the legislature to ask them to change the dates so will allow us to do this transaction and close this before the end of the year. We are grateful to have discussed the transaction in multiple meetings, like I said, with the legislature, and now we're ready to go. As such, I will be calling the legislature into special session on Thursday, December 3rd, to consider a modified proposal to refund the Internal Revenue Matching Fund bonds and the chance to reduce our payment and obligations on over $1 billion of Virgin Islands debt. That is truly too vital to ignore. I am asking the Senate once again to work with us and to provide authorization for us to proceed as they have done before. In closing now, I really want you to consider this. You know, we had a lot of controversy around the remote sales tax, and we continue to have. But we all live in this big house called the Virgin Islands. There's a room called St. John, there's one called St. Thomas, one St. Croix, one Water Island. We're living in a nice big house. All of us eat from the fridge, we use the couch, we use the bathroom, the water, the lights. We rely on this house to keep us and to protect us in good times and in bad. But we've been living in this house for a while, and it has a lot of issues. See, the roof is leaking, the driveway has holes in it, potholes. The house needs some paint. The plumbing isn't working quite as well as it used to. We need new furniture, and a lot of other little things. We are the ones that live in this house, us Virgin Islanders. And the legislature, myself, and a lot of other people, we're like the superintendents taking care of the house. The house is getting old now, and everybody's complaining, oh, the house needs to paint, they need plumbing, the plumbing ain't working, the water, we run out of water, the none they eating in the fridge, and the driveway, the pothole needs to fix. Everybody's complaining about all these problems, and everybody wants to make it better. Everybody. But if we're going to make it better, we are all going to have to chip in a little bit to buy some food for the fridge, to get it paint, to get somebody to come and clog the pothole that's out in the driveway, to make sure that the plumbing is working. And to, Granny getting old, we need somebody to mind her during the day and make sure she eats something. But see, this chipping in is called taxes in the Virgin Islands. It is how our community and communities all over the world improve their infrastructure. No one, including me, wants to pay them. But we need to have money for the house. What a dilemma. What are we to do? When bills go before the legislature for a hearing, it is just that, a hearing. It is to hear what the public has to say about the bill. It is amazing that people in the community are objecting to Senator Francis' bill for the remote sales tax when no one has read the bill. Do you want to know how I know no one has read the bill? Because the bill is not available for reading, because it's being worked on in the process to get it out. You see, if people had actually read the bill, they would know that wholesale businesses and purchases are exempt from the tax. They would also know that it does not apply to all vendors and all purchases, because you have to reach a certain threshold of purchases or sales in order to qualify for being a taxable entity in the territory. They would also know that it is so technical. There are so many different implications because you're taxing a broad array of things. So there are a lot of things that have to be discussed before we can actually put it out as a law. And that is why you have a hearing. Many of us go to the mainland all the time and build their community every year by shopping in their jurisdictions and bringing the merchandises here. I see you coming off the plane with a big suitcase, one full, one empty when you go. Those purchases always are accompanied by a sales tax that contributes and builds their economy when you shop, whether that's in Stone Mountain, Jacksonville, Miami, New York, DC, or Maryland. Some of us are going back to visit some of those same stores on this Black Friday coming here to do exactly that, to buy things that will have taxes on them that will go towards paving their roads, trimming their lawns, making their schools better, and making their infrastructure sound. Now more than ever, purchases are increasing online and really wiping out local businesses. A friend of mine told me the other day she couldn't find dish soap. She bought it on Amazon. We have to level this playing field and not only build our economy through taxes, but allow for our local businesses to compete. And for you to take that choice and say, you know what, I'm going to buy local. Surely if we pay to build their community when we go to the States and shop, we should be a little willing to pay a little bit to build ours. Whenever we send legislation to the legislator, ours or a senator decides to put something up for a bill, it is to get a hearing and to hear what the citizens and the professionals have to say about what is being contemplated. Let's give the system a chance to work and commit to testifying more on the legislative floor. It's not a secret. You can do it. I can do it. Anyone from the community could ask to testify on a bill that's being presented. And let's make sure that when we go to testify on the bill, that we've read the bill, that we actually know what it entails, and have studied about how can we make it a little better. As a superintendents and the maintenance and all of the support for this house we live in called the Virgin Islands, we are constantly looking for ways to make your life better, to improve our living in the house, and to be able to deliver services to not only you, but your loved ones and your family too. In order for us to move forward as a territory, it's going to require us to have some difficult conversations. And if we can't have a conversation about them, because we don't want to talk about new taxes, or we don't want to talk about curtailing our spending or doing things differently or priorities in projects, then we certainly are not going to have the gumption, the courage, and the leadership to talk about actually making the decisions to implement them. Because these decisions we're going to have to make along this way are even tougher than the conversations that we have. I am committed to building the house. This house, the house we call the Virgin Islands. And I know that you are too. Our goal is to be the envy of all the neighbors on the block. Let's work together to make that a reality. Thank you for listening today, and I'll open up for any questions we have from the press. Go ahead. They're on delay, that's why. Go ahead. No questions? Doesn't seem we have any questions. Doesn't seem we have any questions. On behalf of, first of all, I want to say to you, tomorrow is National, well, I think it's World Meatless Day. I've committed, me and my family, to eating no meat. I know the other day I was telling you guys to eat Big Macs. Tomorrow is no meat. We should all eat plant-based food for the whole of tomorrow. Get ready for Thanksgiving, eat fast. Get your exercise on tomorrow too. Get your blood a little pumping before that. So I ask you to join me in National Worldwide Meatless Day, and refrain from eating meat all for 24 hours tomorrow. I also want to say, on behalf of my family, Tregenza, and the people of the Virgin Islands, I'd love to wish you a very, very safe, peaceful, and blessed Thanksgiving. We really have a lot to be grateful for this year, considering, and to hope that you enjoy your day. And remember, enjoy your Friday too. Spend some time at home, talking with family, some board games, reflection, relax, and stay safe. Thank you so much. Love you. Have a great day.